Peace. Just cut the music. Light a little sage. Burn a little sage real quick, Burn a little sage. Let this burn a little bit under me. Let that shit come from the bottom. Okay. Welcome to the Ona Business Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I am the host, Truthful Law, otherwise known as Mr. All on the Business himself. Y'all go ahead and follow me on social media at All on the Business, ALLONABUSINESS. Cash App, ALLONABIZ. $ first. Today, I want to talk about something with y'all. Today's topic is prevention versus cure. Okay, prevention versus cure. An ounce of prevention is worth more than the cure. That was allegedly first said by Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And that's why we take preventative measures in this world we live in. Or we should be taking preventative measures instead of taking measures that in a state of emergency. You feel what I'm saying? We take measures in the state of emergency. Extra Lavish tapped in on Instagram Live. In a state of emergency, we want to cure ourselves, but the time we spent before we was in an emergency, we wasn't taking preventative measures. We wasn't being cautious to the things that we was really doing. And now we come to a time where they forcing people to take the cure because they know the people have not been preventing the thing that's amongst them. The American diet. The American diet has caused, the original people of America, black, brown, yellow people of America, to now we sick. We obese. The number one killer of us is bad diet, hands down. And our bad diet leads us to having cancer and heart disease, heart failure, heart attacks, strokes, diabetes. You name it. They got all these names for all these things that's happened to us based on the bad food choices we make and not doing things in moderation and being addicted to drugs and stuff like that. And now we've come to a point where if you have an underlying ailment and you get hit with this one thing, you could be out of there, you know what I'm saying? Because it attacks your immune system. And it's real. The thing that they saying is out there is real. But the point is, just because that's real doesn't mean, that you just gonna collapse from that shit type of thing, But if you sick, if you got diabetes and I'm not saying go get the joint. Don't go get the joint, I'm not saying get the joint. That's up to you. What I'm saying is the real joint is eating right. The real joint is drinking water and exercising, having good rest patterns, and not stressing. Now, I can't do nothing about the stress for you, but and you probably can't do nothing about the stress in this world we living in right now because it's gonna be some challenging times. The times is challenging. It's rough right now. And since we know it's rough, right? It's hard times right now. Without really being able to see it, it's really hard times. Why? Because everything is shifting to a digital realm. And now, this jug just happened, and they saying people is crashing from it, and they saying you got to lose your job if you don't get it, and you can't go here and there without this pass. You need a hall pass now. And it's, I tried to tell people about this shit years ago. Not about this in particular, but about just how they want to hit you with the jug. They want to hit you with the jug to force you to do what they want you to do because they know that you got options and they want to eliminate your options. You feel what I'm saying? And make themselves the only option like any good drug dealer would do. They want to eliminate the people who are competitive or in opposition to their plan of not making money, because the money don't matter to the people that print it. It's about the power, baby. I mean, if this was about money, this shit would have been over a long time ago. You got to think about it, because we don't got that. As a group of people, like, yo, I don't care how many acres you got. We outnumbered right here in this place. So even if if every family had the equivalent amount, every family in America, each family, not just black and white, if every family across the board had an equal amount, we still have less. So asking for an equal share, you're not really understanding what that means. They've given you an equal share. You 13% of the population, you're going to get 13% of the effort. I crack myself up with some of the shit I say. But you choosing a vaccine over a healthy diet and exercise is just like a real, and to my family in LA and California, ooh-wee. It's a chess game. Let me tell you, it's a chess game. Let me tell you how deep the chess game is. So they say, okay, we're going to make it illegal to go into these places without a vaccination card. We're going to make it illegal. Even though doctors said that natural immunity is real. We're going to make it illegal to go into places without a hall pass. Now listen, they know that niggas is finna jug. I don't give a fuck how y'all feel right now. Don't act like I'm airing some shit out. You think man, first of all, there was some fucking rich Beverly Hills dude that was jugging them before you was. Don't think that you the inventor of the jug, black man. Don't think that when you jug, it's equivalent to their jug. Because they jugging. They jug way heavier. They've been jugging for a long time. They invented the jug. They got the jug game on point. They the sauce masters. Sauce masters. And we the sauce slaves. We the slaves. Don't deny it. Yeah, we not, in your mind don't have to be enslaved. Trust me. And that's the only way we're going to see freedom. The mind has to be clear and sharp. But the body out here, we enslaved, bro. Man, they got the police. They got the judge. They got the government. They got a lot of things against us. Is it systemically racist? No, let's play devil's advocate. It's equal. We still only get 13% of it. It's almost smarter if we just had one state. Think about it. It's 50 states. It's 50 states? Okay. Each state is worth 4%. Divide 100%. You got 100%, right? 50 states, right? No, I'm wrong. Each state is 2%. Each state makes up 2% of a pie. So if 13% population, 2% will count the electoral vote. Do some math. Yo, maybe we should just have a state. That sounds interesting. Maybe we should just have a state. One whole state for us. No, we don't, and constitutional. Not started in the territories of another state. We need a compromise. Fuck it, just give us D.C. Real shit. Give us Washington, D.C. That's not a state. It's a jurisdiction, a federal jurisdiction. You got 50 states plus one federal jurisdiction, and allegedly that's the jurisdiction we're under is Washington, D.C. So if we're under Washington, D.C. jurisdiction, they should just give us Washington, D.C. They should give it to us. It's already started to become so clear to me. You can't start a state in the territory of another state. However, Washington, D.C. is not a state. But it can be. It should be. And it should belong to us. It should be a reparation state. That's what we should call it. Let's start calling that a reparation state. Washington, D.C., the reparation state. Fuck asking for reparations from everybody. Washington, D.C., y'all freed the slaves. Y'all took responsibility from the Congress. Congress took responsibility on the 13th Amendment. Okay. You don't believe me? It's nothing. It's nothing. Let me see if I can, man, listen. Congress is the ones that took power over the slaves. Let me show you something. All right, let's just go ahead and bust this out. Let's bust this out. Let's see, 13th Amendment. Okay. Listen to this. Section 1. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So, the question is, what is the appropriate legislation? What is the appropriate legislation? The appropriate legislation is from 1793 to 1873, the revised federal statutes of the United States. Okay. So since we know that the appropriate legislation, Congress took power of the slaves. They said, look, stop fighting South and North and South. Y'all come together and just give us the slaves and we'll give you your money. We'll make sure all y'all get your money. And we'll make sure the North gets to free the slaves and we'll make sure the South gets penitentiaries. The prison system was started in 1891. We'll make sure the South gets penitentiaries. The first prisons were federal prisons. We'll give the South penitentiaries. And since we're giving the South penitentiaries, how are we going to fill the penitentiaries up for the South? How are we're going to use the appropriate legislation. And with the appropriate legislation, we'll be able to legally, on paper, put them back into slavery. Okay? That's what that means. You know, sometimes they say, you'll hear, the framers of the Constitution meant this and that, and we have to leave it up to Congress to interpret what they meant and leave it up to legislator to interpret what they meant exactly. Bullshit. I call bullshit. I don't have to leave it up to somebody to determine what that shit meant. I see exactly what it says. It says appropriate legislation, and we know that the only way that people enforced slavery was through the federal statutes. Slavery was legal. It wasn't illegal. It was legal across the entire nation, and states had the option if they wanted to have slaves, which is why California, from its insurrection, abolished slavery. But still, it was people in California that practiced slavery that went unpunished, which is why people are pushing for reparations in California right now, quietly. I don't really care about reparations because give us a state, that's cool. That's giving us something. But my thing is, take some shit away. Take away the taxes. Take away all the taxes. But let's stay on topic, because all this shit adds up. But prevention. Why you gonna wait until, you get sick to try to start worrying about how to fix it? Why do we as people gotta eat ourselves to death? I mean, I'm gonna smoke this weed. You got tobacco on it. Hey, listen. I ain't gonna advertise this shit. It says they're not safe alternative to cigarettes. It says it on the pack. So I fit into the category. And I ain't gonna make no excuse on this motherfucker as to why I smoke. But everybody, I guess you gonna pick a poison. The thing is, this right here could make me susceptible to getting something and just collapsing and going out of here, man, for real. However, I don't give a fuck. I don't live my life in fear. I'm a black man. If you want to drink, you want to smoke, you want to do your drugs, you want to eat the bad food, you going to do what you want. At the end of the day, don't have fear behind that shit. Don't have fear of death if you doing something that you know might kill you, motherfucker. And now you want to take a shot to save you from death. You sound silly. You've been doing shit, killing yourself this whole fucking time. And now you want to act like, oh, everything is real. No. I ain't following that shit. The states had options. Just like the states don't have to mandate shots. The president made an executive order that the states can either execute or throw back. I don't want to do that shit. I'm not doing that. They're going to throw it right back. So, a lot of the states are. And that's why he also added, if you are an employer, an incorporation or LLC or somebody that's incorporated, now you fall under the jurisdiction that if you got over more than 100 employees, they got to get vaccines. And this is still a state thing. I guess if the state turns that down, maybe a LLC in that state could also turn that down. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, once you incorporate or you're doing business in this country, you basically sign a contract that makes you liable to the country in which you're doing business in. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got limited liability with the people you do business with, but you got liability with the government for giving you that protection. The government is going to give you protection, but it's like the mob. They're giving you protection in exchange for something else. Okay? Benjamin Franklin said it. I like them old-ass white men. I ain't going to lie, man. I'm not racist. I mean, we can't be racist. Technically, a black person cannot be racist because to be racist, you have to be in a position of power because racism is an action. It's an activist type of thing. It's something that you got to actively pursue. Benjamin Franklin, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, what's up with this Joe Biden thing, man? It sounds like they trying to impeach him. It sounds like they trying to impeach Joe Biden. It sounds like they want to put Joe Biden into a category of presidents that nobody has ever seen. The worst president ever. He's not even president. So they say. Like, yo, they bomb him in Congress. I be watching Congress. They be bombing him, man. Let me play something. I don't even know if I can play it. I do. I got multiple devices talking about I don't know if I can play it. What do I got all this shit for? For nothing? All right, let's see. This is real funny, too. You know what I'm saying? Because the president is doing some motherfucking unconstitutional stuff. I kid you not, he's doing something unconstitutional. Let me see. Let me play this stuff out loud, man. It's amazing footage. I'm pretty sure we could play it.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, and he is failing to uphold his oath.
Uh-oh.
You see, Article 57, these are articles of impeachment on President Biden for abuse of power in regards to
Lil Mock tapped in
willingness
Instagram Live.
to use his position of power to aid his son Hunter Biden in their business dealings. I've also introduced another article of impeachment on President Biden, which is HRES 597. This has to do with the national security crisis that President Biden has created with regards to the extreme threat at the southern border. I've introduced House Res 598, articles of impeachment on President Biden in regards to the failure in Afghanistan. And I've introduced House Res 596, articles of impeachment on President Biden for the COVID eviction moratorium and his willingness to use his position to try to do what he shouldn't be doing.
You hear that? For the eviction moratorium and all kind of stuff. Because a lot of white people lost money. But I'm saying, this type of conversations that happen in Congress. You know what I like about Congress? One thing I like about Congress is that when one person talks, everybody else has to listen. You got to shut the fuck up. You got 5 minutes to talk. They time it. And sometimes motherfuckers get rude. They interrupt each other. But for the most part, they try to act like some civil devils up in there. Like, and, you know, they are some devils, like, for real, because the decisions they make are still based on the security of white people, even though they would probably scorn me for saying that. And I might get flagged for that shit, but I'm telling you it's true because they don't make decisions. They make decisions based on how I'm explaining law right now. The way I explain law to you and my viewers is the way they look at law in Congress, period, point blank, as it is, not as you feel it should be. You know, the judges, they going to work off right and exactness. And when it come to us, we got an extra struggle in court. Ain't no easy courthouse for us, man, because they already looking at you as a 14th Amendment citizen. And until you even get to thinking about having freedom, you need to know what the government has said about you. You got to know what the government is saying about you, how they see you. You got to know that shit, man. Why? Because this shit is a fucking sham. And I'm telling you right now, it's a sham. And we live every day in this motherfucker. And they not just going around with tanks blowing motherfuckers' houses up. They not doing it. They not doing this like, you know, quote unquote, like, you know, how them other people got did or what. I ain't gonna say their names. I'm not giving nobody no motherfucking credit in this motherfucker. I'm only lining up with the 10% doing so y'all can see. I'm not finna fucking big up nobody that went through shit, because you ain't go through shit like we going through. I don't give a fuck what you think. And if you want to go point for fucking point, like, yo, if you want to go point for point affidavit style or some shit like that, we could do it. You want to go on a timeline? What you want to do? I got timelines. Y'all done broadcasted exactly who brought us here, when they brought us here. Y'all brag about this shit. Y'all teach us this shit in school. Y'all brag about this shit. Y'all proud of this shit. Yeah. And whoever y'all is, if you taking this negative, then guess what? I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the people that have put this shit on black and white, and now I'm starting to see this shit, and I'm going to tell the truth. Let me ask you a question. Let me continue to play this lady. Let me continue this.
Three branches of power. Now, this is not an issue that is just important to me. This is an issue that's important to the American people. You see, the American people in polling just recently, there's a range between 60% of Americans that say that Joe Biden should be impeached, but it goes as high as 83% of Republicans think President Biden deserves to be impeached, 58% of independents, and 40% of Democrats agreeing that President Biden should be impeached for his failures to the American people as president. Let's talk about some of those failures.
Which Democrats, which Republicans, which ones? You know, you're not saying no names, so we don't know who the fuck you talking about. And that's why black people, you got to be careful with jumping in them parties. You know what they say about black people going to them all-white parties.
And talk about the border alone. You see, here we have, and let's just talk about criminals coming across the border. U.S. Border Patrol has apprehended 9,728 illegal aliens with criminal records just in fiscal year 2021 in comparison to only 2,438 in 2020. This is a 325.8% increase in migrant encounters. It's up to 1.7 million migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border in fiscal year 2021, which ended in September. This is a massive increase in President Biden's failures to provide security for the American people. Also, Border Patrol agents arrest 53 illegal aliens with sex-related criminal convictions, and many of them have prior convictions for crimes involving a minor. In the same period in 2020, agents apprehended 58. In 2019, they
Cam Turner 909 tapped in Instagram Live.
In total, 55 in 2020, 58.
Let me fill him in. Let me just stop her there. Let me ask y'all a question. If our tax dollars pay for the military, if our tax dollars truly pay the police, then why didn't they pay taxes prior to slavery? I'm begging to find out what the fuck is going on. Was the IRS even established back then? Was there even a such thing as the IRS? And why did they start a tax system? This segment is going to be called, listen, we going through constitutional law today, baby. 13, 14, 15, 16. Fuck it, we going to open up 17 too. But we going 13, 14. So we on 13 right now. 13, the abolition of slavery. Okay, sure. You abolished slavery, sure. But then you gave Congress the power to enforce this article of slavery by appropriate legislation. So let's go to the 14th Amendment. Let's go ahead and go to the 14th Amendment now. The 14th Amendment is what? Citizenship. All persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. You hear that? And of the state where they reside. Why does it say and? And why is the citizens in this section a lowercase c? Citizens of the United States and of the state. Okay. No state shall make or enforce any. Okay. That just says privileges and immunities of the citizens of the United States. Okay. That's what it says, right? I'm going to take you to some cold stuff I found, though, because the 14th Amendment was an option. It became an amendment as an option for people that were recently enslaved and free to become citizens. So, if you was under the 13th Amendment, freed from slavery, except if you were convicted of a crime, and you wanted to be a citizen of the United States, you have to do so under the 14th Amendment, which led way to the 15th Amendment that says the rights of the citizen of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. So, what year did this happen? What year was this? Whoa. 1870? So you mean to tell me Martin Luther King didn't get us the right to vote? Hold on. This ain't no shots of Martin Luther King. I love Martin Luther King Jr. Word is bond to Allah. I love Martin Luther King. But what I'm trying to explain to you is right here it says that we were given the right to vote in 1870 under the 14th Amendment citizenship clause that said the rights of the citizens of the United States. It doesn't say the rights of the citizens of the states, because the citizens of the states already, not the United States, but the states of the Union already had the right to vote. With the rights, the citizens of the United States, who were the 14th Amendment slaves, were given the right to vote in 1870. However, Martin Luther King Jr. fought, and the rest of the civil rights movement fought for the denial, the Jim Crow laws, and being denied the right to vote. And they fought for the acceptance of a 14th Amendment citizen, because the people did not respect the 14th Amendment or the 15th Amendment at that time. So Martin Luther King Jr. and the entire civil rights movement fought for discrimination. Okay? That's what you need to understand. We had the right to vote, which they discriminated against. Who's they? If you are the they, then you are who I'm talking about. You know who they is. Okay? So now 15th Amendment, 1870. Let's go to the 16th Amendment, so we can start adding this shit up. All right, adding it up. 16th Amendment, the Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes on incomes from whatever source derived without apportionment among the several states and without regard to any census or enumeration. On who? On who? On who? Let's read. Whoa. No. Let me go back, because that was the entire Constitution. I just want to see what I want to see. Let's go to Cornell. Hmm. One exceptions and two qualifications. Articles exported from any state may not be taxed at all. Direct taxes must be levied by the rule of apportionment, and indirect taxes by the rule of uniformity. Hmm. You see, the Congress, by way of the 13th Amendment, let's go back, has the power to enforce a tax levy on the 14th Amendment citizen. Articles exported from any state may not be taxed at all. You see what I'm saying? Let's see what's going on here. The scope of state immunity from federal taxation. Although there have been sharp differences of opinion among members of the Supreme Court in cases dealing with tax immunity of state functions and instrumentalities, the court has stated that all agree that not all of the former immunity is gone. Twice the court has made an effort to express its new point of view in a statement of general principles by which the right of such immunity shall be determined. However, the failure to muster a majority to concur with any single opinion in the latter case leaves the question very much in doubt, where, without overruling, it narrowed the immunity of salaries of state officers from federal income taxation. The court announced two guiding principles of limitation for holding the tax immunity of state instrumentalities to its proper function. The one, dependent upon the nature of the function being performed by the state or in its behalf, excludes from the immunity activities thought not to be essential to the preservation of state governments, even though the tax be collected from the state treasury. All right, let me explain something here. Let me just make something clear. When the 13th Amendment was written, the tax was levied in gold. Taxes, the power of the Congress, the tax was levied in gold. It was levied in gold. It was not levied in paper currency. Okay? The Constitution, Article 1, Section 10. So let's just do that. No state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque, and reprisal, or I'm not sure exactly how to say that word. It says reprisal, but I don't know what that means. So letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So nothing except for gold and silver is to be used as a payment of debt. the IRS collects taxes through the Internal Revenue Code, which are federal statutes pertaining to taxes imposed by the federal government. This is a deep subject. Federal statutes. Federal statutes 1793. Okay. Let's just look them up. Whoa. All I did was type in federal statutes in 1793 and it said the Fugitive Slave Acts. Fugitive Slave Acts in U.S. history. Statutes passed by Congress. That provided for the seizure and return of runaway slaves. Let's just shoot for the stars, man. Let's just type 1750. Federal statutes. Hold on, man. What were the first federal statutes? Okay. Crime Acts of 1790, first federal criminal law. This is important. All right, let's just go through it, man. I thought they was going to give us a list. The Crimes Act of 1790, known as the Federal Criminal Code, was the first effort by the first Congress to establish criminal offenses punishable by the new federal government. The act created 23 federal crimes and set forth their respective punishments. The act also addressed procedures for the federal courts and amended recently adopted Judiciary Act of 1789. The newly adopted Constitution explicitly enumerated congressional authority to define and punish the crimes of piracy, counterfeiting, felonies on the high seas, and offenses against the law of nations. Other crimes were not specifically mentioned in the Constitution, but could be implied from other delegated congressional powers. Constitutional scholars have observed the first acts passed by the first Congress provide a particular good window of the intent of the founders, since there was a substantial overlap between the drafters and the Constitution and the members of the first Congress. The Constitution singled out the crime of treason for special treatment. The framers defined treason narrowly. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. Here go the laws right here. Treason, misimprisonment of treason, willful murder occurring on federal property, rescue, attempted rescue of a body following an execution, misprision, misimprisonment. I would guess this would be a misimprisonment of felony, manslaughter, right? Piracy, accessory before the act, accessory after the fact, confederate to piracy, maiming, forgery, counterfeiting, falsifying federal securities or coin, altering, corruption of federal records, larceny, receiving stolen goods, perjury, subordination of perjury, bribery, obstruction of a federal officer, rescue of an inmate, violation of safe conduct passport. So, let me see. Where my tissue at, man? My nose itching. I got a booger. Piracy. Yeah. The obligation of contracts as well. You know what I'm saying? However, you see murder was on there. You see stealing was on there. Larceny was on there. You know, forgery was on there. Any type of way of stealing or trying to, damaging people's property, all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? It's definitely a crime. So those were the first statutes. Okay? What was the second set of federal statutes? Whoa. Statutes at large. So we know prior to 1789, they were still here doing their thing, getting their money on slavery. They did it for years under Britain, right? The Boston Tea Party declared that they didn't want to pay taxes. They felt like they were self-sufficient. They declared independence. 1776 came with the Constitution, 1789. Continued slavery for another, 80 years. But this is what we're looking at. The first Congress. Statutes, all right? This is important because the Fugitive Slave Act is in this one. Let me do this. It's not in there. So where did they bring that shit? That's what I'm saying, man. Y'all bear with me on this research because we just going into these federal statutes and really seeing what's what, because slavery never ended, man, and the doors is open for us to have a discussion. The doors are open. And the thing is, the taxes that's levied the taxes that are levied on your income are not to be paid with tender private debts in public. It's supposed to be paid with gold and silver, and they took the money off the gold standard. So therefore, how are you supposed to pay the IRS? How are you supposed to pay Congress taxes? How is this happening? You know, but the 14th, 15th, 16th Amendments, 13, 14, 15, 16th Amendments, they tell you everything about how the government moved after slavery ended. And you can see that it looks like, to me, the South really won. It doesn't look like the North won the war. It looks like the South won. And that's really all I got for today, man. I'm not sure how long I've been on, but, you know, I'm puzzled sometimes about some of this information I get in it. Damn, my shit stopped recording. Well, yeah, it looks like it stopped recording anyway, man. I'm going to go ahead and tap out, man. Y'all have a blessed day. Hopefully, you know, this get some views and this helps y'all on some research. I'm going to do a little bit more research, man, into this impeachment thing, into where our tax money goes and all that stuff, so I can have more of a calculated effort when I come back. Because that shit just, it's like, we paying taxes. They freed slaves. Abraham Lincoln said slaves could go. Then they said you could go, but if punishment of a crime, you could go back into slavery. Why would they say that, man? Why would they say that, man? I'm going to tap back on in a little bit, man. We're going to get back on because I need to get some more recording in and get this podcast really recorded so I can release it. But hopefully y'all tuned in